Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Jenny Halpin, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Commander Amy Weston. 2026 marks 125 years of dedicated service by the Australian Army and its predecessors. Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Richard Leslie White. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Gladstone Park Secondary School visiting from Gladstone Park in Victoria, and students on behalf of Avoca Beach Public School visiting from Avoca Beach in New South Wales. Now, if you are able, could I please invite you to stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students and those who require a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Richard Leslie White. Richard White was born in 1894 in Warwicknabeal, Victoria, to Thomas White and Ellen Nee Urquhart. He was the youngest of their 10 children. Around 1905, the family moved to Western Australia to farm at Koyunup. In January 1912, his father Thomas, aged 61, suddenly died from heart failure. The children were all adults by this time and were able to support their mother. When the First World War began, White was working as a sleeper cutter at Collie. He enlisted for service in the Australian Imperial Force there on the 26th of January 1915. After his initial training, he was allotted to the 5th Reinforcements to the 11th Infantry Battalion. White embarked with other reinforcements from Fremantle on the 29th of April aboard the transport ship Hororata. After only a brief stop, he was sent on to Gallipoli, where he arrived on the 2nd of June and joined the 11th Battalion the same day. Over the next 5 months, the 11th Battalion took part in a raid that captured a section of Turkish trenches, then held the position during a Turkish counterattack in early August. Battle casualties, combined with poor food and increasingly cold weather, saw the battalion reduced to just over 300 men by October. After being withdrawn from Gallipoli on the night of the 16th to 17th of November, the battalion was sent to rest on Lemnos. The 11th returned to Alexandria in Egypt on the 7th of January 1916. On the 7th of February, White was sent to an instructional school for machine guns and passed his course with first-class marks. In mid-March, he transferred to the 3rd Machine Gun Company. The company had 16 Vickers .303 calibre, water-cooled, heavy machine guns, each with a crew of 3 men. At the end of the month, he sailed with his unit for France, arriving in Marseille in early April. The company was sent to Stretsiel in northern France, where the men continued training. White's unit entered the front line for the first time near Flabé in mid-May and spent the next 6 weeks rotating from the front lines to rest positions. In early July, the 3rd Machine Gun Company marched to the Somme. On the 22nd and 23rd of July, the company supported their infantry comrades' attacks on the OG-1 and OG-2 trenches at Pozières. During a heavy German bombardment on the 23rd, White received a penetrating shrapnel wound to his skull and was evacuated. Initially listed as missing, he had been taken to the 1st Field Ambulance. Over the next week, he was transferred to England and admitted to the King George Hospital in London on the 1st of August. Everything possible was done to treat his wound and repair the damage to his skull, but he remained in a coma. His condition continued to deteriorate and he died at 10 p.m. on the 27th of August. He was laid to rest in the Nunhead All Saints Cemetery. After the war, his remains were reinterred in the Australian section of the cemetery. The epitaph on his headstone reads, "Not dead to us that loved him, not lost, but gone before. He was 23 years old." White's 4 older brothers also served in the First World War and all returned to Australia. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Richard Leslie White, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.